What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another exciting episode on Taking a Risk with George. On today's episode, I'm taking the honey and the kids on a historic drive. And when I say historic, I mean historic. This trail that we're going on is over thousands of years old, and you guys all get to come with us. So smash that thumbs up button and let's hit the trail. Here we are on the beautiful Natchez Trace Parkway, which is literally hundreds of miles of drive, but we are here at the Old Trace Drive. Let's get to it. Here we are taking a ride on the old Natchez Trace. So from this point where we're starting at, we're going to drive over 1.5 miles of the old trace, and we'll see for ourselves the frontier road much as it appeared in the early 1800s. En route, there are 3 scenic overlooks to enjoy the fine views. The modern parkway follows the general route of the old trace. Engineering standards and the necessity of preserving sections of the trace have made it impractical to follow it exactly. The trace followed ridges and avoided valleys wherever possible. Ridges were more easily cleared out when drier in wet weather, provide greater sight distance, and reduce the number of streams to be crossed. This is such a beautiful trail, and I keep looking out for animals and other types of stuff, but I have not seen anything yet. Of course, you can find amphibians, which are plentiful because of how moist the area is. Hundreds of birds, which you can find year-round. There's bears, deer, foxes, beavers, and plenty more. And there's over 40 different species of reptiles, including alligators, turtles, and snakes. The origin of the Natchez Trace. So after the American Revolution, frontiersmen from the Ohio Valley carried their products downstream to Spanish-controlled New Orleans and Natchez. Returning home, boatmen followed a series of Indian trails from Natchez to Nashville, trails which evolved into the Natchez Trace. After the United States acquired Natchez in 1798, the government decided to clear a road between the newly created Mississippi Territory and the state of Tennessee as an important communication link between the national capital and the Old Southwest. Along what is now the Natchez Trace Parkway, the Chickasaw people lived in the northmost region, the Choctaw were in the central area, and the Natchez were in the southernmost of these 3 tribes. The Choctaw, Chickasaw, and Natchez are some of the most historically significant influential groups of people to have lived along the Natchez Trace. These American Indian nations were some of the first to establish the Natchez Trace, ushering in an era of trade and travel through the region for centuries. The people of the Chickasaw Nation, the Choctaw Nation, and the people of the Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians are alive and well today. You can see by the remnants that there was a huge storm last night. We literally had some of the coolest weather I've ever experienced in my life. I went outside, and at night we were in like an open area. There was no cloud cover, but all around us there was cloud. We were literally like in a circle, and I can tell you I've never seen this before in my life, but it was non-stop lightning all around us, but no thunder, which tells me the storm was far away. But then we did get hit pretty hard at around like 4 or 5 o'clock in the night, where it was like blasting with lightning and thunder. Everybody woke up. We were all watching the weather. I should have recorded some of it. It was extremely cool, but I've never ever in my life experienced non-stop lightning all around us without having any rain or thunder whatsoever. It was really cool. The Natchez Trace was vital to the military and economic welfare of the nation. Its most important travelers included post riders. The United States inaugurated mail service between Natchez and Nashville in 1800, providing, at first, for 1 trip a month each way. This had increased to 3 a week by 1816. Other important travelers included the cane tucks. The trace contributed mighty to commercial development of the Old Southwest. Returning to their homes, thousands of boatmen passed over it. Other important riders, the circuit riding preachers, Christian missionaries followed the trace. They established schools and churches among the Indians and in frontier settlements. And of course, who can forget the soldiers? Between 1798 and 1815, troops frequently passed over the trace in times of crisis to meet threats posed by Indians or foreign powers. This is just such an exceptionally beautiful drive. I have never experienced a drive like this through the woods, and I love the amount of history. We're stopping here. We had to check something out, but it turned out to be just a stick. Because of that huge storm, there's lots of leaves and sticks that are broken down and blown around, and it's pretty awesome to see how much survived. Oh look, there's actually somebody else on here. Something I absolutely love about being in the woods is 9 times out of 10 you're going to not see another human, but here we go. Hello! Pretty cool. Somebody else enjoying this beautiful scenery, which I love. I absolutely love seeing other humans enjoy the things that I enjoy. Continuing on, still have not seen anything animal-wise. Looking for armadillos, which I've learned a lot about in the last few weeks. You definitely don't want to touch them because they do contain, or can pass on to you, leprosy, which, what the heck? Definitely don't want to get that. And they do carry other types of diseases, so it's best to not play with them. No matter how cute and cuddly they look, you always have to remember that wild animals are not your friends, right, kids? Yeah! All right, moving on. And of course, there were always hazards on the trace, just like any other road of the Old West and Old Frontier, there were hazards. So you had to worry about torrential rains, the most profuse heavenly shower bath I ever enjoyed. I would rather take my chance in a field of battle than in such a tornado again. That is from Alexander Lewis, from 1811. Of course, there was thieves as well. You had to worry about swamps, another passage from Alexander Lewis. I passed through the most horrid swamps I had ever seen. These are covered with prodigious growth of canes and high woods, which shut out almost the whole light of day for miles. Other things to worry about were swollen streams and, of course, the insects. And just from being here for a few minutes, I can tell you 100% the insects are bad, especially as the heat gets hotter. Continuing on this beautiful drive, which is anywhere between 1.5 miles and 2.5 miles. There were additional roads that, of course, you cannot take anymore. They're not accessible, and you do have to be weary because the way this road is, recreational vehicles and buses are not allowed on it. You can see, I hope you guys can see from us driving, that there are tons of potholes. This road is not the most securely built. Of course, this is an original road from the 1800s. I don't believe much has been done in updates for it, but there are a lot of low-hanging branches, which is why you don't want to bring your RV through here. And in some areas, the road damage is so bad, like look at this right here. We just went over several potholes that a vehicle weighing several tons would only cause more damage and would not be good to be on here. But I'm so glad that we got to drive through here and experience this beautiful piece of history and nature all in one. I absolutely love it. This is the type of stuff that we love doing, and here we go, getting it both in one. Somewhere in the area as well, there is a trail, Old Trace Trail, that you can actually walk. And from what I've read, it's several thousand feet, so it's not entirely a mile yet. It might be only like a third of a mile or something like that. But it does take you along the area over here, and you get to see some more of the paths that the old Native Americans developed, and the paths that they took and they created, and what eventually turned into Old Trace and then the Natchez Trace. So that's pretty neat as well. Amazing history in this area. And of course, just how beautiful this is. I love these types of woodlands. This is how I grew up. I grew up in Ohio, which is very similar to Tennessee. And this is what I spent most of my day, and good God, that was rough. Spent most of my day playing in the woods as a kid. And this is about the end of it. There's a stop sign here, so you can see that trail that comes off of here is a little bit of the older trail that I don't believe you're supposed to drive on. You can walk that. I may be wrong. I don't know. But anyways, continuing on This is beautiful. You can see right there that sign says weight limit 10 tons, and you can see that this road is horrific. The honey is driving, if you guys couldn't tell, and she's doing her best to avoid as many of these potholes and these just broken areas. But you can see off the side of the road is a steep drop. So you do have to be exceptionally careful. You can't drive too far off the road, and on the other side is a hill going up. So that's another hazard you have to watch out for as well. But this drive was so beautiful. Look at this beautiful little stream and this cool bridge, which is an original bridge. How beautiful. Built in the 1800s, and then this one as well. This is Natchez Trace Parkway above us, which is gorgeous, but I'm going to assume that had a little bit more of an update than the bridge behind us. And we don't know what goes straight, but as you can see here, the sign to the left says Natchez Trace Parkway. So we are going to get on with the rest of our day. That was just a fun little trip that we took, and we're so glad that we were able to bring you all with us. And there we are, back on the Natchez Trace. That's going to be it on our historic trip down Old Trace. That was such a wonderful drive, such a beautiful area. We did stop and look at some of those overlooks, and we even filmed some with our hover drone, which was really cool and a lot of fun, but the bugs were terrible that we had to get out of there. Plus the honey broke one of my tripods, which wasn't cool at all, but it's okay. I love her anyways. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. It really does help the channel. If you haven't already, please subscribe. That also helps the channel. Plus, you get some awesome content for free. Make sure you go over to our description down below. There's 3 other links for our Facebook, our Instagram, and our TikTok, where you'll see additional content there if you enjoy taking a risk with us. Remember, we love you all, and life's a lot more fun when you're taking a risk.